Hey, this is Josh with Growlink, and in today's walkthrough we'll be going over how to make a sensor trigger override to control your lights if your room gets too hot. First, you'll want to log into Portal 2.0 and go to the controller dashboard for the controller that you want to make this rule on. Once you're at your controller dashboard, you're going to navigate to the rules section up at the top of the web page. Once you're in the rules web page, select the rule folder and rule group that you wish to make this rule in. In this example, we're just going to use the default rule folder and the default rule group. For a sensor trigger override, we need to make a sensor trigger, so we're going to select the tab for sensor triggers and then hit Add Sensor Trigger. For the display name, we just want to give some identifying information for this rule, so we're going to use the example override name for this rule. Next, we want to specify the time of day at which this rule would be active. We have a couple of different options: all day, day only, night only, and custom time. For this particular example, we're going to choose all day. Next, we want to choose the sensor that we wish to associate with this rule. We're going to choose the room temperature from the environmental sensor that's in this room. Next, we want to choose what device that we're going to control based off of this room temp. And in this case, we're going to choose Lights 1, the lighting output device that we chose in a previous video to be turned on from 8 AM to 8 PM and a lighting schedule. Next, we're going to choose if the set point is static or dynamic. For the case of an override, you always want your overrides to be static. Next, we're going to choose the value for this rule. In this example, we're going to choose a value of 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, we're going to set the deadband for the rule, which is the bound above and below that value that it's going to activate from. And we're going to choose a deadband of 2 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, we're going to choose an activation point, which our options are either above and below set point. In this case, because we want our lights to turn off if the room gets too hot, we're going to choose the above set point option. Here, with all these values populated, you'll see that a logic summary sentence and a accompanying graph has been populated. However, note that the logic summary sentence is saying it's going to turn on this lights type device if it goes above 92 degrees and gets switched off when it returns to 88 degrees. This is counter to the logic we want to employ. Towards the bottom of the form, we'll see an override toggle, and when we click this on, the logic summary sentence is going to update, saying that it's going to force off this output when the room temp exceeds 92 degrees and will be allowed to turn back on again once it goes beneath 88 degrees. Using an override is crucial for these types of setups, just to have some sort of secondary failsafe in case the room gets too hot from HVAC failure or other sorts of controls failures. With all these values put in place, go ahead and hit the Add Trigger button at the bottom. All that's left is to hit the Update Controller button up at the top right of the web page. And once the configuration update has completed, the controller will now operate the room based on the lighting schedule we've set up in a previous video. And if the room gets above a specified threshold, in this case 92 degrees Fahrenheit, the lights will be told to turn off until the room temperature goes below 88 degrees. This concludes how you'd set up a lighting override sensor trigger within Portal 2.0.